Hey guys, Jengar here. Welcome to today's realistic review in which we are taking a look at the P-47N-15 sitting at 4.7 battle ratings. Quite the plane, isn't it? It is nice, but it is not really fitting to the meta, isn't it? Just like most of the Thunderbolts, it is not a great climber. It will take you a lot of time to get up to altitude, and these days everything is on a time limit of 25 minutes, unfortunately. Change that please, Gaijin. Back to an hour, give us missions and all that jazz, make it interesting again. But okay, 25 minutes. How can you make this plane work? You need to side climb. I released 2 months ago, I believe, a video on side climbing, a tutorial. Watch that if you want to know how to side climb and make it work about 90% of the time. In the meantime, we have side climbed with this plane, and once you get to altitude, once you get her up to speed, once you wind the Thunderbolt up, she can definitely perform for you. Even though it's not the best turner, even though it's not the fastest plane in the world at this battle rating. But all in all, once she gets from altitude, she has great dive speed and handling in the dive. And from there you can have a lot of fun in a Thunderbolt. But you first need to get there, right? Now, before we get into the details of the plane, do make sure to join me on Rumble and join me on Locals. Those are my other 2 platforms in which I share videos. I haven't shared in a while, but I will start doing that again as well, so I would appreciate that. And of course, in the meantime, if you have not subscribed yet, do so. I am working on the American 3. Rank 3 is coming soon, and rank 4 is up next time. After that one, as you see, I am already flying rank 4. Thumbs up and leave me a comment. Okay, so let's get into it. The maximum speed in this plane is 533 without web and 588 with web on sea level. At 4,500 meters you can take her to 484 without web and 540 with. And finally at 6,500 meters you can take her to 460 without web and 512 with. Now this plane has great war emergency power. It gives you a very good extra boost on sea level. She is slower than most planes around her. We flew the F4U4, the P-38J and the P-51D, and it's slower than all of those planes at sea level except for the P-38 on sea level with web. She can go a little bit faster and she will rival the D5. But when you get up to altitude with web, she will slowly perform better. Without web though, she doesn't. But so once you're overheated, you might have a problem there when it comes to speed. But when you do have web, you can catch up to a great many people or escape, especially in a dive. This plane has a great top speed in a dive, 904 before she redlines and 975 before she rips apart. That is jet speed easily, and the rip speed, well, it's close to 1,000. That is absolutely amazing in a dive. You will be able to catch up to many planes in a dive, pretty much everything you face. Although you will face the same planes as well these days. Corsairs are quite good as well, but this one has a little bit of a longer reach when it comes to the top speed as the F4U4, for example. It has a 841 red line. So yeah, this plane is king when it comes to dive speed. Control stiffening is also quite good. It has a little tick in the compression on the ailerons at 500 and then at 600 and then later on at 800. But these are small incremental ticks that are not terrible. And it stays good for a very, very long time in the dive. This plane is not great in the handling when it's slow, by the way. The faster you go, the better it is. Except when you go over the 800, it will slack a little bit there, but all in all this plane is amazing in a dive. Stall speed in the plane is also quite good, 135. You know, you have more than 2000 horsepower, so in this thing it is quite good when it comes to stalling out. It's not amazing because it's also quite heavy, but the stall behavior in this plane is quite decent. When it comes to that. The firepower in the plane is very good. She runs with 8 12.7mm M2 Browning machine guns, 500 rounds per gun. This gives you very good firepower with great ammo loads. That is one of the best ammo loads for 50 cals in the American line. 500 rounds per gun on a regular setting, absolutely amazing. You have bombs and rockets and combos between those two in the plane. The highest load is 2 1000 pound bombs, a 500 pound bomb and 10 HVAR rockets. This is a great load for a fighter plane. After that you can use the plane as a fighter. If you want to go ground pounding, very useful in ground RB. But if you use it as a fighter in air RB, I would definitely consider not taking all that jazz and just going for air-to-air combat. For that I use a 600 meter convergence, as I want to stay relevant in a head-on if I need to do that. And with this firepower it is quite workable a head-on usually, with the sturdiness of the plane as well, which is absolutely fantastic. She is a great plane for head-ons, although you of course have a risk, but you want to prevent that usually. But if you go for it, you want to stay relevant, and thus you need a 600 meter convergence in my book. The belts are of course the modern belts. You have the default belt with APIT, armor piercing incendiary tracer shell, 2 times armor piercing and 1 incendiary shell. The universal belt has 2 times API, armor piercing incendiary, then APIT and then 2 times incendiary. Ground belt, more AP of course, APIT, then 1 incendiary round and then 2 times AP and 2 times API. Tracers is full of APIT, and the stealth belt is a 50-50 combination of API and incendiary. So all in all, although universal and stealth also have incendiary in every shell, the tracer belt seems to be the most fire causing belt in there, and I've started to take a liking to the tracer belt despite the fireworks, which can mess up your aim a little bit here and there. I noticed that these days it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. I always used to run with universal or stealth, depending how much of America I flew, but I really like the tracers these days, so I'm really running with the tracers. The performance in this plane, acceleration in a straight line is good, in a dive it's great. She needs to, not initial, but once she winds up a little bit, it's great acceleration. Energy retention in the horizontal is great, and in the vertical it is good. Climb rate is bad though, needs extensive side climbing to be in the place where she needs to be. You need to be high in this plane to get her to work, so you need to side climb. Turn time in this plane is below average to average with flaps when she's fast. If she's slow, she is bad. Flaps rip at around 540, which is decent, but those are very close to her regular straight line speed, so it's not great, but it's workable. Roll rate is average. When she becomes quicker, around 450, 500, it becomes decent. Maneuverability overall is below average when it's slower, below 450, and when she's above 450 she goes to average to decent, and then when she starts to wind down again she becomes slightly above average. Overheating in the plane is very present with WEP. It's manageable though, because it does cool off fairly quickly. Durability in the plane is absolutely excellent. It can take huge damage, and is absolutely one of the best planes when it comes to survivability. You can take a shit ton of damage in this plane. The repair cost is also good. It's 5,517 Silver Lions for full repair, which is good for this battle rating. You have average rewards though. You have a research point modifier of 344% with a 1.72 multiplier, and then for the Silver Lions you have a 285% multiplier, or modifier, sorry, with a 1.9 multiplier. So both are average and very comparable to other planes out there at this battle rating. Well, the Thunderbolt, man, I like them. I always have liked them, even though they're not meta friendly. You need to side climb, as I said, but once you get there you can boom and zoom, you can energy fight once you get that energy under your wings, and she is also a close air support that can be very efficient Lots of ammo on this plane, 500 rounds per gun, 50 cals can do a lot of damage against soft targets and light pillboxes and all that jazz. You have the bombs, you have the rockets, you're a menace really, even as a cuss. But as I said, in RRB I will always use it as a fighter, come from altitude and have my fun that way. But I can definitely imagine that this plane is awesome in ground RB to take. It has a lot of versatility. It is very survivable. It can tank a lot of damage. Durability is excellent. It is amazing. She's very fast in a dive, which is also quite enjoyable for your boom and zooming. You can make very long runs in this plane, thus that is really the primary role, boom and zooming in this plane. But yeah man, as I said, patience is what you need in this plane. You really need to be patient. You really need to take her on a side climb that will take you 5 to 8 minutes depending on the map. And keep a good eye on what the battle is doing to make sure that you don't go in too quickly, and that you take your time, and that you're one of the highest planes before you get in. Because if you get into a situation where I'm putting myself in right now, I'm the last plane left, I believe, on my team here. I've got 4 or 5 people. I've got 3 people coming in, and I thought, okay, let's just turn around and see what happens. I just get a hit here. If you kill that guy off, you have a chance. But you know, sometimes still with the 50 cals, you don't have that. But all the planes are more maneuverable basically at this battle rating than you. But as you saw, man, that 109 did a shit ton of damage to me, and I'm still flying. Damage is extensive, but she can take, as I said, a ton of damage before she really is out of the battle. I can take 2 more planes down after taking that damage, the F4 here and the other 109 that came straight at me. And now I'm turning around to get another shot in on these 2 guys. Had I had a little bit more space here, I could have maybe taken them in head on. But I don't in this case, and I'm stuck on 4 kills while dying, unfortunately. But you saw the damage the plane can take. It's absolutely amazing. Alright, let's see what we got on the 4 kill match. We got Terror of the Sky, Bulletproof, 37,000 silver lions and 6,000 research points. I'll see you in the conclusion. Hey guys, so here we are after the match. This Thunderbolt is a Thunderbolt and it's good. It has the cut-off wings at the end. It doesn't really roll much better comparatively. Maybe a little bit. Is really not very noticeable when it comes to that. But it is just as sturdy. It has a great amount of ammo that really doesn't help when it comes to roll rate. Gives you extra weight. Maybe that just balances out the cut wing. Or what? How do you call that again? The cut. It's not a cut wing. I don't remember. But that ammo load in the wings gives that extra weight and really doesn't make the roll rate gain much from the clipped wings. Yes, I got it, clipped wings. Yeah, for the rest, man, she's not super fast in a straight line. With web and on altitude, she becomes faster and becomes competitive comparatively on the battle rating. But yeah, in a dive, she's absolutely amazing, and that's where she shines. The handling in the dive is great. The firepower is awesome with 850 cals and insane 500 rounds per gun ammo load. That is awesome. You have the versatility with the bombs and the rockets and the combos between that. Great highest load, and you can do a shit ton of damage, especially in ground RB, but also in air RB. If you want to go ground pounding, that works. Not too great at climbing. I said you need to take your time, be patient, be disciplined, and side climb. Doesn't turn very well either. She does have 1 or 1.5 turns in her when she's at full speed. Turns a little bit better there, and as there's not too much compression, it works. But that doesn't last very long, and in most turn fights you're absolutely screwed. So you got to stay out of that. You got to be disciplined in a boom and zoom roll. Sometimes transition into energy fighting, but you keep yourself at that. And with the damage that this plane can take, and the good repair cost, and then the performance coming from altitude, she is worth your while in the end. Whether it is the plane you should focus on in this rank, we'll review later on in the rank review, but all in all, I like the Thunderbolt. It is awesome as always, and you feel like a real badass when you come from altitude. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button, become part of this community. If you are already a subscriber, don't forget to like the video, do leave me a comment, and if you really feel like helping out today, make sure to share the video with your friends and let them know about the channel.